Hiberno English or Irish English refers to the set of English dialects natively written and spoken in Ireland. English was brought to Ireland as a result of the Norman invasion of Ireland of the late 12th century. Initially, it was mainly spoken in an area known as the Pale around Dublin, with mostly Irish spoken throughout the rest of the country. By the Tudor period, Irish culture and language had regained most of the territory lost to the colonists. Even in the Pale, all the common folk, for the most part, are of Irish birth, Irish habit, and of Irish language. However, the English conquest and colonization of Ireland in the 16th century marked a revival in the use of English. By the mid-19th century, English was the majority language spoken in the country. It has retained this status to the present day, with even those whose first language is Irish being fluent in English as well. Modern Hiberno English has some features influenced by the Irish language, and it also retains some archaic English elements. Most of these are more used in the spoken language than in formal written language, which is much closer to standard British English, with a few differences in vocabulary. Hiberno English uses British English spelling and mostly British pronunciation standards. However, the various Irish dialects still have their own unique sound systems. Phonologists today often divide Hiberno English into 5 major dialects, namely, Ulster English, West and Southwest Irish English, Local Dublin English, Non-Local Dublin English, and Subregional Hiberno English. Ulster English. Ulster English here refers collectively to the varieties of the Ulster province, including Northern Ireland and neighbouring counties outside of Northern Ireland, which has been influenced by Ulster Irish as well as the Scots language, brought over by Scottish settlers during the plantation of Ulster. Its main subdivisions are Mid-Ulster English as well as Ulster Scots English, the latter of which is more directly and strongly influenced by the Scots language. All Ulster English has more obvious pronunciation similarities with Scottish English than other Irish English dialects. Ulster variety is distinctly pronounced, and ordinarily grammatically structured declarative sentences are often with a rising intonation at the end of the sentence, is lowered, in the general vicinity of, as fronted and slightly rounded, more closely approaching U, and both in the general vicinity of A, with a backton glide and fronted off glide, putting it in the vicinity of A, as particularly before voiceless consonants. E, as though nowadays commonly or even when in a closed syllable. O, almost always, as a slightly raised monophthong. A lack of happy tensing, with the final vowel of happy, holy, money, etc. As syllable final L, occasionally as dark, though especially before a consonant. Notable lifelong native speakers Christine Bleakley. The Northern Irish accent is the sexiest in the UK, according to a new poll. The dulcet tones of Liam Neeson, Jamie Dornan, Christine Bleakley and Rory McIlroy helped ensure the accent came top of the popularity charts. John Cole, his distinctive Ulster accent. Nadine Coyle, I was born and raised in Derry and I can't change the way I talk. Jamie Dornan, Rory McIlroy, Daniel O'Donnell, the languid Donegal accent made famous by Daniel O'Donnell. Liam Neeson, Colin Morgan, West and Southwest Irish English. West and Southwest Irish English here refers to broad varieties of Ireland's West and Southwest regions. Both are known for the backing and slight lowering of A towards the more open starting point for R and of and, respectively, the preservation of O as monophthong L, theta, and th, respectively, as and. Southwest Irish English also features two major defining characteristics of its own: the raising of to n before n, or per meter, and the noticeable intonation pattern of a higher pitch followed by a significant drop in pitch on stressed long vowel syllables, which is popularly heard in rapid conversation as a kind of undulating sing-song pattern. Notable lifelong native speakers: Roy Keane, Cork accent; Di the OSE acute his Kerry dialect; the Rubber Bandits, strong Limerick accent, sits on a frequency like a tambourine which can cut through any noise. Local Dublin English. Local Dublin English here refers to a traditional, broad, working-class variety spoken in the Republic of Ireland's capital of Dublin. It is the only Irish English variety that in earlier history was non-rhotic. However, it is today weakly rhotic, and it uniquely pronounces a as a in the vicinity of as o as tas, theta, and th respectively as and, dot. The local Dublin accent is also known for a phenomenon called vowel breaking, in which the vowel sounds a, u, and I in closed syllables are broken into two syllables, approximating, and, respectively. Notable lifelong native speakers: Damien Dempsey, his distinctly Dublin sound, and a working-class Dublin accent; Imelda May. Non-local Dublin English. Non-local Dublin English here refers collectively to non-localized, non-working class, and more recent varieties of Dublin and the surrounding eastern region of Ireland. It includes mainstream Dublin English, a common, middle-class variety that preserves a few local Dublin features while setting the basis for an otherwise super-regional Irish English accent, as well as New Dublin English, a youthful variety beginning in the 1990s among, originally, the avant-garde, and now those aspiring to a non-local, urban sophistication. New Dublin English itself, first associated with affluent and middle-class inhabitants of Southside Dublin, has replaced the moribund Dublin 4 accent which originated around the 1970s from Dubliners who rejected traditional notions of Irishness, regarding themselves as more trendy and sophisticated. However, particular aspects of the Dublin 4 accent became quickly noticed and ridiculed as sounding affected, causing these features to fall out of fashion by the 1990s. For more on the non-local Dublin sound system, see the section below on super-regional Southern Irish English. Notable lifelong native speakers: Andrew Scott, his soft-as-rain Dublin accent; Super-regional Southern Irish English. Super-regional Southern Irish English here refers to a variety crossing regional boundaries throughout all of the Republic of Ireland, except the north. As mentioned earlier, mainstream Dublin English of the early to mid-1900s is the direct influence and catalyst for this variety. Most speakers born in the 1980s or later are showing fewer features of the 20th century mainstream super-regional form and more characteristics of an advanced super-regional variety that aligns clearly with the rapidly spreading New Dublin accent. Ireland's super-regional dialect pronounces a as quite open, a along a possible spectrum, with innovative, particularly more common before voiced consonants, notably including a as starting fronter and often more raised than other dialects. May be with a backer vowel than in other Irish accents, though still relatively fronted. As almost always separate from, keeping words like war and war, or horse and horse, pronounced distinctly. As a diphthong, approaching, as in the mainstream United States, or as in mainstream England, is fronter and often rounder. Overview of pronunciation and phonology. The following charts list the vowels typical of each Irish-English dialect as well as the several distinctive consonants of Irish English. Phonological characteristics of overall Irish English as well as of the 5 aforementioned subdivisions of Hiberno English, Northern Ireland West, and AMP, Southwest Ireland, Local Dublin, Non-Local Dublin, and Subregional Ireland are all listed in the charts below. Other phonological characteristics of Irish English include that consonant clusters ending in j, a distinctive dj, becomes d, e, g, dew, dew can duty sound like dew, dew, and duty. Tj becomes t, e, g. Tube is tube, tune is tune. The following show neither dropping nor coalescence kj, hj, and mj. The naming of the letter H as H is standard. Due to Gaelic influence, an epenthetic schwa is sometimes inserted, e.g. film and form. Vocabulary. Loanwords from Irish. A number of Irish-language loanwords are used in Hiberno English, particularly in an official state capacity. For example, the head of government is the Taoiseach, the deputy head is the Tánaiste, the parliament is the Oireachtas and its lower house is Dáil Éireann. Less formally, people also use loanwords in day-to-day speech, although this has been on the wane in recent decades and among the young. Derived words from Irish. Another group of Hiberno English words are those derived from the Irish language. Some are words in English that have entered into general use, while others are unique to Ireland. These words and phrases are often anglicised versions of words in Irish or direct translations into English. In the latter case, they often give a meaning to a word or phrase that is generally not found in wider English use. Derived words from Old and Middle English. Another class of vocabulary found in Hiberno English are words and phrases common in Old and Middle English, but which have since become obscure or obsolete in the modern English language generally. Hiberno English has also developed particular meanings for words that are still in common use in English generally. Other words. In addition to the 3 groups above, there are also additional words and phrases whose origin is disputed or unknown. While this group may not be unique to Ireland, the usage is not widespread, and could be seen as characteristic of the language in Ireland. Grammar and syntax. The syntax of the Irish language is quite different from that of English. Various aspects of Irish syntax have influenced Hiberno English, though many of these idiosyncrasies are disappearing in suburban areas and among the younger population. The other major influence on Hiberno English that sets it apart from modern English in general is the retention of words and phrases from Old and Middle English. From Irish. Reduplication. Reduplication is an alleged trait of Hiberno English strongly associated with stage Irish and Hollywood films. The Irish arbith corresponds to English at all, so the stronger arch or arbith gives rise to the form at all at all. I've no time at all. Ar-iglaga means in case. The variant ar-igla na-higla implies the circumstances are more unlikely. The corresponding Hiberno English phrases are to be sure and to be sure. In this context, these are not, as might be thought, disjuncts meaning. Certainly, they could better be translated in case and just in case. Nowadays normally spoken with conscious levity. I brought some cash in case I saw a bargain, and my credit card to be sure. Quote. Yes and number. Irish lacks words that directly translate as yes or no, and instead repeats the verb used in the question, negated if necessary, to answer. Hiberno English uses yes and no less frequently than other English dialects, as speakers can repeat the verb positively and negatively, instead of using yes or no. Are you coming home soon? I am. Quote. Is your mobile charged? It isn't. Quote. Recent past construction. Irish indicates recency of an action by adding after to the present continuous, a construction known as the hot news perfect or after perfect. The idiom for I had done X when I did Y, bullsh, I was after doing X when I did Y, modeled on the Irish usage of the compound prepositions indidh, ta, eacutize, and in eacutize, bhim, eacuta, eacutize, indiidh, in eacutize, xadh, eacutanamh, new era rina eacute y. Why did you hit him? He was after giving me cheek. A similar construction is seen where exclamation is used in describing a recent event. I'm after hitting him with the car. Time ta eacutize eacuta bualad lazen g car. She's after losing 5 stone in 5 weeks. When describing less astonishing or significant events, a structure resembling the German perfect can be seen. I have the car fixed. Tar and car agam. I have my breakfast eaten. Tar mo breakfast ite agam. This correlates with an analysis of H1 Irish proposed by Adger and Amp Mitrovic, in a deliberate parallel to the status of German as a V2 language. Reflection for emphasis. The reflexive version of pronouns is often used for emphasis or to refer indirectly to a particular person, etc. According to context. Herself, for example, might refer to the speaker's boss or to the woman of the house. Use of herself or himself in this way often indicates that the speaker attributes some degree of arrogance or selfishness to the person in question. Note also the indirectness of this construction relative to, for example, she's coming now, 'tis herself that's coming now. Is if acute in arter agtichte noise. Was it all of ye or just yourself? Arsibsigo eli acute ian artusarefi acute ian bhiigceist. This is not limited only to the verb to be, it is also used with to have when used as an auxiliary, and, with other verbs, the verb to do is used. This is most commonly used for intensification, especially in Ulster English. This is strong stuff, so it is. We won the game, so we did. Prepositional pronouns. There are some language forms that stem from the fact that there is no verb to have in Irish. Instead, possession is indicated in Irish by using the preposition at. To be more precise, Irish uses a prepositional pronoun that combines ag, at, and acute me to create agam. In English, the verb to have is used along with a, with me, or on me, that derives from ta, agam. This gives rise to the frequent do you have the book? I have it with me. Have you change for the bus on you? He will not shut up if he has drink taken. Somebody who can speak a language has a language in which Hiberno English has borrowed the grammatical form used in Irish. She does not have Irish. Nilga Ailga Aici, literally, there is no Irish in her. When describing something, many Hiberno English speakers use the term in it, where there would usually be used. This is due to the Irish word and fulfilling both meanings. Is it yourself that is in it? Unto efi acute in artan. Is there any milk in it? A bwil banan. Another idiom is this thing of that thing, described as this man here or that man there, which also features in Newfoundland English in Canada. This man here, and fear co, that man there, and fear sin. Conditionals have a greater presence in Hiberno English due to the tendency to replace the simple present tense with the conditional and the simple past tense with the conditional perfect. John asked me would I buy a loaf of bread. How do you know him? We would have been in school together. bring and take. Irish use of these words differs from that of British English because it follows the Irish grammar for bear and tog. English usage is determined by direction. Person determines Irish usage. So, in English one takes from here to there and brings it to here from there. In Irish, a person takes only when accepting a transfer of possession of the object from someone else, and a person brings it all other times, irrespective of direction. Don't forget to bring your umbrella with you when you leave. Hold my hand. I don't want someone to take you. To be. The Irish equivalent of the verb to be has two present tenses, one for cases which are generally true or are true at the time of speaking, and the other for repeated actions. Thus, you are is ta to, but you are is by and to. Both forms are used with the verbal noun to create compound tenses. The corresponding usage in English is frequently found in rural areas, especially Mayo, Sligo in the west of Ireland and Wexford in the southeast, inner city Dublin along with border areas of the Northern Republic. In this form, the verb to be in English is similar to its use in Irish, with a does be, do be construction to indicate the continuous or habitual present. He does be working every day. By an se acute ago begachla. They do be talking on the mobiles a lot. By an siadag kind go leo arab wan poker. He does be doing a lot of work at school. By an se acute ag de acute namh go leo oiba ask oil. It's him I'd be thinking of. Is arabio nami acute ag smoabanam. From Old and Middle English. In old-fashioned usage, it can be freely abbreviated tis, even as a stand-alone sentence. This also allows the double contraction tis and for it is not. Irish has separate forms for the second-person singular and the second-person plural, mirroring Irish and almost every other Indo-European language. The plural you is also distinguished from the singular in Hiberno English, normally by use of the otherwise archaic English word ye. The word use also occurs, but primarily only in Dublin and across Ulster. In addition, in some areas in Leinster, North Connacht and parts of Ulster, the hybrid word ye est pronounced yes may be used. The pronunciation differs with that of the northwestern being and the Leinster pronunciation being. Did ye all go to see it? Arima sibh go eli acute iarchun e acute vacant. None of yous have a clue. Nilsil lidar bith agabe. Are ye not finished yet? Nak wheel sibh criosh neither foss. Why eyes are after destroying it. Tar sibh tar e acute ties e acute of scry sod. The word ye, yis, otherwise archaic, is still used in place of you for the second-person plural. Yes are a user of the possessive forms e.g. where are yous going? The verb mitch is very common in Ireland, indicating being truant from school. This word appears in Shakespeare, but is seldom heard these days in British English, although pockets of usage persist in some areas. In parts of Connacht and Ulster the mitch is often replaced by the verb scheme, while Dublin it is replaced by on the hop bounce. Another usage familiar from Shakespeare is the inclusion of the second-person pronoun after the imperative form of a verb, as in wife. Go you to her ere you go to bed. This is still common in Ulster. Get use your homework done or you'll no goin' out. Quote. In Munster, you'll still hear children being told, up to bed, that ye. For influence from Scotland see Ulster Scots and Ulster English. Other grammatical influences. Now is often used at the end of sentences or phrases as a semantically empty word, completing an utterance without contributing any apparent meaning. Examples include, by now, there you go now, are now, hold on now, now then, as a mild attention-getter, etc. This usage is universal among English dialects, but occurs more frequently in Hiberno English. It is also used in the manner of the Italian, pregard, or German, bitte. For example, a barman might say, now, sir, when delivering drinks, so is often used for emphasis, or it may be tacked onto the end of a sentence to indicate agreement, where then would often be used in standard English. The word is also used to contradict a negative statement. The practice of indicating emphasis with so and including reduplicating the sentence's subject, pronoun and auxiliary verb such as in the initial example, is particularly prevalent in more northern dialects such as those of Sligard, Mayo and the counties of Ulster. Sure is often used as a tag word, emphasizing the obviousness of the statement, roughly translating as but, and, well, can be used as to be sure, the famous Irish stereotype phrase, or sure, I can just go on Wednesday, I will not to be sure. The word is also used at the end of sentences. For instance, sure, I was only here 5 minutes ago, and can express emphasis or indignation. To is often omitted from sentences where it would exist in British English. For example, I'm not let go out tonight, instead of I'm not allowed to go out tonight. Will is often used where British English would use shall, or American English should. The distinction between shall and will, maintained by many in England, does not exist in Hiberno English, with will generally used in all cases. Once is sometimes used in a different way from how it is used in other dialects. In this usage, it indicates a combination of logical and causal conditionality. I have no problem laughing at myself once the joke is funny. Quote, other dialects of English would probably use if in this situation. Bibliography